coming to you live from the Tino Studios in Minooka, Illinois. I'm your host, Bucky Shanks, and this is Tino Tonight. Welcome everybody to the Week 6 edition of Tino Tonight. 5 weeks are in the books and 4 top 10... Bucky. Bucky. 4 top 10 teams were defeated. This is sure to shake up the top 25 yet again. Every week feels like multiple teams are on upset alert. In other news, 3 more coaches reached the 20-win milestone last week. Iowa State's Steve Niezgoda, Baylor's Lanny Strong, and Virginia Tech's David Llewellyn. Coach Llewellyn also got his 10th win versus the top 25. Also noteworthy, head coach Chris Finger of Washington picked up his 10th win versus the top 25 when the Huskies upset UCLA this past week. Bye weeks are now upon us, and injuries are piling up. We now begin to separate the contenders from the pretenders as we proceed in this 2021 campaign. But let's get into the squeak of the week. This week's squeaker takes us to Boulder, Colorado for a Pac-12 showdown between USC and Colorado. USC got huge performances from Marquise Brown and Trayvon Diggs to lead the way for the Trojans. For the Buffaloes, they left an inactive Jadeveon Clowney in the lineup, which proved to be the difference in this one. USC squeaked this one out 931.60 to 930.60. The 1-point win is tied for the 5th closest game in Tino history. It's only a 2.5-year history, but history nonetheless. Oklahoma is this week's lone mover and shaker. After beating number 24 Iowa State in week 4, the Sooners followed that up with a win over number 6 Kansas last week. These two lived up to the hype when it was mentioned last week that these are 2 of the most prestigious programs in the country. They combined for 2,300 points in their matchup. A bit of tough luck for Kansas as they scored the 12th most points last week. But I think this is more kudos to Oklahoma, who scored the 4th most points and went over the 1,200-point mark. Nobody really paid much attention to Oklahoma in the preseason after last year, but let's not forget this Sooner team won the national title 2 years ago. But that's enough about Oklahoma and Kenny Bellafuck looking like a problem again. We're going streaking.
We're going streaking! Yes! We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. Come on, bring your green hat. We're streaking! We're streaking! Woo! Woo!
What the hell are you doing?
We're streaking!
And this week's streakers, Wisconsin's regular season win streak is up to 6, and the overall win streak is up to 5. Ohio State's regular season win streak is up to 5, and overall win streak is up to 6. Wisconsin and Ohio State play this week, so one of these streaks is going to come to an end. Arkansas' regular season streak is up to 5. Their overall win streak is up to 6. Razorbacks face Vanderbilt this week in a game they will be heavily favored. On the losing side of things, North Carolina, Michigan, Rutgers, Arizona State, and Vanderbilt all up to 6-game losing streaks. Record holders, Iowa 17, no jeopardy anytime soon. And on the winning side, Oklahoma's overall win streak of 15, Tennessee's regular season win streak of 14. These are going to stand for quite some time. And that brings us to the brand new updated top 25. Coming in at number 25, Iowa 3-2. After starting the season 3-0, the Hawkeyes have now lost 2 straight and are trending the wrong way. The last 2 weeks in losses to Nebraska and Michigan State, the Hawkeyes offense was nowhere to be found. What Iowa needs is a slump buster. And no better way to break a slump than to beat up a tanking team, and that's exactly what's in store for week 6. The tanking Michigan Wolverines, who Iowa is 0-2 against. Number 24, Mississippi State 3-2. The Bulldogs got back in the win column last week after dropping 2 straight. They beat the self-proclaimed number 1 team in the country, Tennessee, but these days, who hasn't? Big win for Mississippi State, though, and couldn't have come in a better time. The next 3 games are against currently ranked teams Georgia, Auburn, and Florida. Mississippi State is 2-0 versus Georgia. Number 23, Maryland 3-2. The Terrapins have alternated wins and losses all year to this point, which means after a win they would likely lose this week based on recent trends. But next up is a tanking Rutgers team, so Peter and the Turtles will get a 2nd win in a row. Maryland is 1-1 versus Rutgers. Number 22, Purdue 3-2. The Boilermakers had their 2-game winning streak snapped by Penn State last week. Purdue put up over 1,100 points, but unfortunately, the defending champs had the high point total last week and went north of 1,300. The good news for Purdue, however, is this is the best team they have put on the field in Coach Petschke's tenure. Their best season so far was 3 wins. They had that after 4 weeks this season. They will try for number 4 this week versus Michigan State, who they are 0-2 against. And number 21, Florida 3-2. The Gators held on last week and survived stat corrections versus LSU, improving to 3-2 on the year. The win proved costly, Bucky, as the Gators lost quarterback Russell Wilson in the process. Next man up is Taylor Heineke to try and help keep the ship afloat. I don't know how you keep a slip afloat, but we're going to keep the ship afloat. The Gators look to get to 2-1 in the conference if they can beat Alabama, who is coming off a huge win over number 2 Georgia. Florida is 1-1 versus Alabama. Number 20 USC 3-2. The Trojans might be the luckiest team in the league right now after winning back-to-back Squeak of the Weeks. But winning is the only thing that matters around these parts, and they look to make it 3 straight and remain perfect in the conference if they can beat Arizona this week, a team they are 0-2 against. Number 19 Wake Forest 3-2. The Demon Deacons come in on a 2-game winning streak, and the fans in Winston-Salem are buzzing. One person that is not buzzing is head coach Kevin Gilman. When realizing the Demon Deacons were ranked, the coach went on to say, "This is not good. I'm not wanting to be ranked yet. Rebuild happening too fast." Somebody needs to let the coach know that winning is a good thing. Fast rebuilds are not a bad thing. Miami is up next, and Wake Forest is 0-2 against them lifetime. I guess that's a good thing? Weird times for Wake Forest. Number 18, Kansas State 3-2. The Wildcats are a team I questioned if they were for real, as the teams they beat left a lot to be desired. I still feel like this question remains unanswered. They lost to Baylor, who scored 1241 while putting up 1055. So while the loss is never a good thing, I don't have an issue with that point total. So if nothing else, they gain some more respect. They have Texas Tech next, who they have never beaten. We shall wait another week. Number 17, Georgia Tech 3-2. The Yellow Jackets had their 2-game winning streak snapped at the hands of Virginia Tech, and there is no way to put this other than they just flat out got their asses kicked and did not show up. Virginia Tech threw up almost 1,300 points, but C. Bergeron's group fell short of the 900-point mark, and when you try beating the Hokies with a sorry total like 883, that's the result you're going to get.
That's the result you're going to get. Don't you ever talk about me.
I don't know why Virginia Tech is all fired up, but I guess I'll take notes to never talk about the Hokies. Notre Dame is up next. Number 16, South Carolina 3-2. The Gamecocks had their 3-game winning streak snapped by Arkansas last week. South Carolina has played a hell of a schedule to this point, playing 4 ranked teams in 5 weeks, and it will be 5 ranked teams in 6 weeks when they take on Tennessee this week, a team they are 0-2 against. Coming in at number 15, UCLA 2-3. Something about Pac-12 teams being really unlucky. The Bruins had the second most points in the entire country, Bucky, but they are 0-2 in conference play and 2-3 on the year. This is similar to the fate Oregon suffered last season. A ton of points scored, but also a ton of points against. They try to get to their first conference win this week versus Washington State, who they are 1-1 against. Number 14, Tennessee 3-2. The Volunteers come into this week losers of 2 straight. The non-conference was fun, beating up on Oregon State and Texas, but now that we've entered the conference play, the Volunteers are having a harder time winning than a fly that wants to leave but can't figure it out.
Okay, now where now? No,
Right there.
I'm having
Right,
some trouble here.
it's right there. It's right in front of you.
Oh, okay. No, I can hear you. Volume's not a problem. I'm just not quite seeing what
Okay,
you're referring
then
to there.
fly out the window.
Up here,
Just-
maybe?
No,
Is
to
it,
your,
no,
to your
that's
left.
not it. That's just more
No,
wall.
how many eyes do you have? Huh?
Well,
How many?
just 2, same number as you, but you know, I'm just
go.
I'm not
Oh, my
getting
God,
it. Whatever it is you're driving at, I'm just
you're-
apparently not getting
you're
it, so
right
I'm just
there.
going to go back upstairs.
It won't get any easier this week as number 16 South Carolina is up next. Tennessee is 2-0 versus the Gamecocks, but this is the non-tanking version of South Carolina. Number 13 Oregon 3-2. The Ducks enter Week 6 losers in 2 of their last 3.
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
And have to be thinking, here we go again after last season. However, help is on the way with 0-5 Arizona State up next. The Ducks are 1-1 versus ASU lifetime. Number 12 Oklahoma 3-2. The Sooners come in winners of 2 straight over ranked teams as we've seen them moving and shaking earlier tonight. A win over Kansas is never easy, but Oklahoma has gotten the better of them to this point. Oklahoma looks to keep the momentum going as they face West Virginia next, who they are 1-1 against. And number 11 Oklahoma State 4-1. The Cowboys lost a season opener to Georgia and since then have quietly won 4 in a row. With the win, Coach Husky has gotten his career record back to 500 with a 14-14 record. Iowa State is up next, who they are 1-1 against. Number 10, Wisconsin 5-0. The Badgers come into this week unbeaten to this point, Bucky. 5-0 overall and 2-0 in the Big Ten. However, upon further review, their 2 wins in the Big Ten have come against tanking teams, and 3 weeks ago, they beat West Virginia. The combined record of these 3 teams is 1-14. The good news, they get a chance to prove they're for real this week. Number 1 Ohio State is next, who the Badgers are 1-2 against. They are 0-1 all-time versus a number 1 ranked team. Number 9, Kansas 3-2. The Jayhawks had their 3-game winning streak snapped at the hands of Kenny Bellafuck and the Sooners. Injuries are starting to pile up just as we start hitting bye weeks. Head coach Tyler's schemes and game plans as good as anyone, so I have no doubts this team will get back on track. Next up is TCU, who Kansas has never lost to. Number 8, Georgia 4-1. The Bulldogs had their 4-game winning streak snapped at the hands of Alabama. It appears the Bulldogs looked past Alabama in this one. They had beaten 4 straight ranked teams and were cruising. Georgia is 1 win away from matching their career high in the season. Up next is number 24, Mississippi State in a battle of Bulldogs. Georgia is 0-2 against Mississippi State all time. Number 7, Virginia Tech 4-1. The Hokies have been on a rampage since the season opening loss to Wisconsin. After week 1, Virginia Tech has won 4 straight and hasn't scored under 1,100 points. This team is rolling and appears healthier than a horse.
So, how's that leg doing?
Great, never better.
Good. Why don't you try putting some weight on it?
Sure. Yes. Oh, that's good. That feels good. Very strong.
Sorry, Thunder. I gotta put you down.
How's your leg, huh? How's your leg? You ready to race? Huh?
Currently sitting at 7th in the land, this is the highest this school has ever been ranked. They face Clemson next, who they're 1-1 against. Number 6, Baylor 4-1. The Bears have found the recipe for success. Score over 1,000 and they win. Score under that and they lose. This formula has Baylor at 4-1 this season. The lone loss was the Big 12 opener when they put up 932 points and a losing effort. Every other week was north of 1K. The gentleman from Waco prepares his Bears for Texas next. Number 5, Arkansas 5-0. The Razorbacks remain unbeaten and continue to climb the ranks as a result. With their 5 wins, they are 1 away from matching last year's win total. The Hogs look to stay perfect versus Vandy this week. Number 4, Auburn 4-1. The Tigers have extended their winning streak to 2 after destroying Vanderbilt last week by over 400 points. This group looks to be for real as they have knocked off 3 ranked teams and just missed beating a 4th. Coach Bingham has gone north of the 1,000-point mark in every game this year. They take on LSU this week as they look to remain perfect in the SEC. Number 3, Penn State 4-1. The Nittany Lions lost the season opener to giant killer Auburn and as a result had everybody questioning if this team would be able to make a run at going back-to-back. It was me. I am everybody. I had my doubts. And since the loss, all they have done is won 4 straight while going over 1,000 points each week. Even more impressive, they have put up over 2,500 points in their first 2 conference games. This team doesn't look like a whole lot of fun to play right now. Nebraska is up next to try and slow down this runaway train. Number 2, Florida State 4-1. The Seminoles keep cruising. They have now won 4 straight, and since their Week 3 win over Oregon in the Money Bowl, the Seminoles have been on a warpath. Cam can get win number 20 if Florida State can beat NC State this week in a game the Seminoles will be heavily favored. And number 1, Ohio State 5-0. The Buckeyes remain perfect on the season as they took down their second taking team in as many weeks. The rest of the way looks to be a bit more challenging as the remaining 7 games are against teams all looking to win now. Facing tanking teams or not, Ohio State has put up well over 1,000 points in every game this year. This team looks strong as they currently have the 5th most points in the country. Undefeated Wisconsin is up next in one of our Games of the Week. This week's Games of the Week, only 3 of them. Number 1, Ohio State versus number 10, Wisconsin. Number 8, Georgia versus number 24, Mississippi State. And number 14, Tennessee versus number 16, South Carolina. And that wraps up the Week 6 edition of Tino Tonight. Added a few more clips this week to the show. Hopefully you guys got a few laughs from the show and were able to forget about life for just a few minutes. Until next time, for everybody here in Tino Studios at Buckingham Palace, I'm your host, Bucky Shanks. Good night, everybody.